from there, this was the time where I realized that I wanted to stop that 7-year journey and go on to something completely new. In a state like that, in full-on instability, insecurity, am I gonna make it or am I not gonna make it? But something in me was, I call it the fire within. It was so loud and I couldn't not listen. And it's been loud since I was 14 years old. I've been tapped into this internal fire, if you want.
Maria Saab is a force of nature and an angel of beauty. Not only is she a dear, dear friend of mine, she's also somebody who's gone through a journey from fitness to the world of mental performance. Today, I'm very honored and blessed to have my dear, dear friend and inspiration, Maria Saab, here on Welcome to the Now. Maria, welcome to the Now.
Erwin, thank you so much for having me. It is such a big pleasure to be having this conversation with you and to actually take our outside conversations into the now for
Very
other
true.
people to witness as
Exactly.
well. So.
I think I'm very so excited because you and I have had an amazing relationship through these many years, and the growth that we both have gone through and been witnessed from each other has been truly amazing. So that said, let's get right into it. So let's start from the beginning. You grew up in Lebanon, a place filled with beauty, but also with struggle. How were you able to really dream the dreams you had when you were a kid, and what were those dreams?
So starting with what were those dreams, I remember when I was in 3rd grade, our teacher asked us to draw what we wanted to become when we grew up. And I remember drawing myself with a microphone in front of me. And at the time, I thought I wanted to become a singer because to me, performance means singing because that's what I knew back then. Didn't know more than that. But now when I reflect back on this, I realize that I've always known. I've always known that this stage is where I want to be because right now, in this day and age, that's my most comfortable place to be at. When I'm on stage, I feel like I'm one with everything. Time and space dissolve. That's the flow state we call in performance. And I'm just channeling right through. And I'm able to connect with people at a whole other level. That's when I shine from within. That's where I feel like my soul is alive. And it's super nice to think about how children always know best because they're the most connected to their truth and they're the most connected to who they truly are. And because those filters and those layers haven't been really built up as much as adults would have, right? So that evolved though, from performer, singer, to wanting to become a doctor. And I studied actually biology pre-med, minor in chemistry for 2 years. And then I realized that I love studying the human body and everything that has to do with why humans behave in the way that they behave. But it wasn't in that way, or at least not in this lifestyle. And so I switched back to studying nutrition with a minor in psychology because I was also super passionate about health and fitness and also the body and how it works. But then I also realized after working in that field for 7 years, I realized that what I really love about it, it's my connection with people. And and through my practice, whether it's through personal training or by being a dietitian, I always navigated through the mental. And all of my clients knew that she's the mental and physical coach. Because for example, part of my physical training, I used to have a 20-minute, by the end of the workout, I used to have a 20-minute treadmill therapy where they would walk and talk and I would walk them through. Because to me, releasing emotions is just as healthy as doing that stretching or doing that workout for your body. So, and even in my dietetics, I always used to watch myself take people to help them to improve their relationship with their body and with food. So it was always a direction to the mental. And at some point I realized that the reason why I love this so much is because of that one aspect. So why do I need to do all of these other stuff to get to that one aspect? Let me do just that because that's what I really love. And then remove all of the other things that I do like, but let me integrate them in the way that resonate with who I truly am. And that's what I stand for anyway, to do anything that's really authentic to you.
It's a hard challenge for somebody who is multifaceted like myself to really determine what it is we want to focus on. Because in the end, despite wanting to make a difference in many different layers of the people we work with, often the biggest challenge is, who do they look to you for? Or what do they look to you for? And so how did you determine that, as you just mentioned, how do you determine that out of everything, you were saying, you know what, the mental is where we need to, whether begin or end?
My compass is myself. It's my intuition, it's my soul. It's not my mind, it's not my body, it's not my heart, because these communicate whether I'm aligned with who I truly am or not. My body tells me when I'm doing something that's not resonating with who I am. My mind tells me, my mind is actually, we'll talk about that, we'll talk about the mind, it's constructed, you know? But being my own compass and that inner true voice of truth, being my inner compass, made it easier. Because as I told you, my reference was what made me feel most alive. And I started doing more of that. And I started doing more. So at university, I would have all of those credits of, you know, training, of classes. But at the same time, every single leadership workshop I attended, literally every single leadership workshop. I trained high schoolers, I trained university students, I went into every, you know, leadership program there is, community volunteering, because this is where I thrived. And so I started to follow that. Okay, where do I feel alive? Let me do more of this. Where do I feel alive? Let me do more of that. And then once I got that experience, then I combined all of this together. How can I be more myself in everything that I do? So right now, it is true that I work on the mental, because to me, this is super important. But at the same time, through my work on the mental, I tap into the 4 quadrants of life: the mental, the physical, the spiritual, and the emotional. Because you cannot neglect one of those areas if you truly want to reach peak performance. All of these make up who you are. You remove one of them, you're not reaching your peak. It's 75%, not 100%. Right? So with my academic background in science and health in the body, I can work on the physical. With my background in psychology and high performance and neurolinguistic programming, in coaching, I can work on the emotional and the mental. And the spiritual is my journey of really connecting with that truth. So it's, how am I going to express myself today? It doesn't have to be that way in 10 years, but that's okay. I'm not hanging on to or identifying myself as I'm just a high performance coach. I'm whoever I want to be today. This is how I express myself. Tomorrow, it could be different, as long as I'm serving the world with what I've been given.
First of all, beautiful. Second, what continues to keep you grounded on this journey? There's so many things and avenues that you find yourself in. And you talk about this compass that you have. Is that compass also your rock?
Actually, my compass takes my feet off the ground because it's a fire.
Okay.
I always want to fly, I want to go here, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. But what really grounds me is my faith. That's my rock. Because this is where I've gotten the gifts that I have. It's not about, as Ronan says in Mind Valley, it's not about the messenger, it's about the message. So I'm just the messenger. I'm just the vessel through which God is working. So it is not me. When you think that it's me, then that's the ego that's playing. This is where you're not grounded anymore. But no, it's not about me. I'm just the way through. So this thought really helps me to stay connected. And plus, when you're really working from a place of service and genuine love, it's impossible for you not to be at every level where everyone's at, to be able to really serve from where they're at, not from where you're at. And of course, family and friends that keep you, grounded, keep you in check. Like, if you're going crazy, like, okay, we need to slow down. Are you doing okay? And plus, who I am with them reminds me of, when I go all in business, reminds me of the 5-year-old that I have within me, of that crazy self that's always singing and dancing. And this also brings me back to the real world.
I mean, as I told you folks, she's definitely an inspiration, not just to me, but to many 5-year-olds, many kids, many of the youth in your home country of Lebanon, which, as you say, you feel like it is part of you to be in service of them. Even as you began in the fitness journey that you started with, it impacted so many of these young women. How do you continue to carry that with you as you've transformed, not just in that space, but then to the evolution of this high performance coach, this founder and CEO of Home of Greatness, and to speaking at all stages around the world?
How do I continue to carry what exactly?
To carry this being of light, this joy to serve and to inspire others, and especially the youth back in Lebanon.
I think you would be able to relate because you're a man of service yourself. The more that you serve, the more you have a hunger to keep serving because it fills you up, it doesn't take away from you. So the more that you give, the more you're filled up with all of this light and love, the more that you feel like they're giving me, I'm not giving them. So as long as I'm making time to be able to serve my community, as long as I'm recharging myself to go beyond that as well, to the outer world. And it's men and women, actually. And I really love working with men because they've been neglected for so long, especially that I work in emotions and I work in healing. I realize how much they've been carrying and not knowing how to express and communicate. Especially successful people, because I work with executives, I work with CEOs, I work with professional athletes, and these people have already achieved so much. But how does it look like at the top? Is that success if I'm unhappy? Is that success if all my relationships are neglected? So helping them through that, they realize that from that place of healing, they could really reach so much more than they could have imagined. And to me, helping men heal, that's how I'm helping women. By having better men in our society, they're going to be feeling better and living a better life as well.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. It is a challenge for all of us who serve others to serve ourselves sometimes. What's been the biggest challenge for you as it comes to serving yourself in order to continue to perform at the highest level that you can?
So at the beginning, it was asking for help. Because I've always been that person who takes things upon her responsibility and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna make that and I'm gonna make everybody happy. But then at university days, I was working 16 hours per day, including Saturday, Sunday. And I used to get burnout after burnout after burnout. But I know that I had to pass through this to know exactly how to guide other people who are there right now. So, and I used to feel like it's just me who sees that gift that I have, so I have to show it to the world so that they see it as well. Until I realized that once I stop and I just am, and I'm in that place of being and I'm just resonating, there's no way people aren't gonna see the light of my truth. Just being in that light makes it spread 10 times more. And the people that keep me in check are my team. I call them my team, not my team that works with me, but like my soul team, you know? It's people like you that are always there, that are always supportive. And that ask me how I'm doing, if I need any kind of support or help, whether it's my coach as well, whether it's my mentors, whether it's my best friends, whether it's my family. So these people are, I feel like one person once asked me, do you think that you are self-made? Because I really did everything on my own. Like zero help, zero support to a certain extent. But then I remembered that I wouldn't have been here, sitting on this chair, if Vision hasn't supported my journey and in Mind Valley, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have been here in my career journey if I hadn't done the healing with my coach, if I hadn't been learning from my mentors, if I hadn't been supported from my teachers and people who believed in me. So actually, I'm not self-made, I'm community-made. And to me, I wouldn't be able to do all of this without them. And they helped me to get back in check. But one thing that I'm still working on is to really be properly welcomed into the now, welcome myself into the now, like how to be more present, not here, not in the future, because as an ambitious person, you're always living in the future. I want to do this and I want to do that and I have big dreams and I'm a visionary, you know? But it's hard to really get yourself back here to the present moment, just calm down, be in that state of peace, groundedness, and this is where the transformation happens.
Everything you're saying is something I relate to. You are truly a reflection of me, a reflection of the people you surround yourselves with, including myself. I think every day of what are the things that I need myself, and it is for a long period of time asking for help. And so it's kind of funny that as much as people will say you're self-made, we all are community-made, but you have to be willing to accept that the community does help you. And so my next question is, if, with that being said, how have you really harnessed the power of your community to really allow yourself to come out of some of your life's biggest challenge, like burnout, as you said, and how has the community really lifted you up in a way in order for you to be here now?
Growing up at home, my family, I'm so grateful to be coming from a very loving family. There's a lot of love and there's a lot of life. And my parents have really given me that freedom to be who I want to be and to support that and to trust me in this journey. If I say, let's say, I want to learn that, or I'm traveling to this place, it's not like there's this like this road, this block that I have to overcome with them. No, they trust that I know what I'm doing and I know where I'm gonna get. And so they gave me that freedom to just evolve and become without having to have in mind that I need permission to be expressing myself in that way. I need approval to be expressing myself in that way. I need to have a certain type of conversation to convince them that this is the right thing. Them giving me that space and that trust to become really helped me. So that's one, growing up. Of course, my friends, I have a small circle of true friends that have been with me through childhood, through the first days of my, my life. And they've always been there through every up, through every down, full on believing in me, full on supporting me and being there for me when I'm down and me being there for them when they are. And then from there, as I told you, my coach and mentors, at some point after my 7-year experience in health and fitness, I was running a gym, a private gym. That's a long story. I don't know how you want to go through that. But at the end of it, I realized that this wasn't my dream. That's not what I really want to do. And so it was very hard for me to leave because I already had a big community of people that I was serving, whether it's at home, at the gym, online, everywhere. And if I had worked 7 years in that industry, I had created a reputation for myself in that industry. So leaving that and going to something completely different is also a challenge. And at that time, Lebanon was going through its worst economic crisis. It was just a few years ago, like 2020, 2021, there was the August 4th bombing that was probably the second or third biggest in the world. There was the worst economic crisis. There was the worst political crisis today. There was the revolution going on for 2 years. Everything was collapsing. And COVID was happening. Everyone, was in quarantine. Nothing was stable. Absolutely nothing. Security wasn't there. Stability wasn't there. You could not dream for the future. At least, I could, but normally we wouldn't be able to dream for the future.
You could. You could, of course, because you had this vision that you knew
1,000%.
that life will continue to move on, and it'll be up to you, in a sense, to make that difference.
1,000%. And so from there, this was the time where I realized that I wanted to stop that 7-year journey and go on to something completely new in a state like that. In full on instability, insecurity, am I gonna make it or am I not gonna make it? But something in me I call it the fire within. It was so loud and I couldn't not listen. And it's been loud since I was 14 years old. I've been tapped into this internal fire, if you want. And it's that full-on belief in my journey as well, that I'm able to achieve it. So on that path, I was working with my coach to be able to overcome my limiting beliefs, to be able to heal from emotions that I've been carrying in order to do that inner work. And I cannot tell you how important that is, to do that inner work, because that's gonna make you fly. You're no longer gonna push towards your goals. You're gonna flow towards them. So as soon as I leave, literally 2 weeks after, Vision texts me on WhatsApp And that was in March. I remember, in May 2021, I handed the keys to
The gym.
I handed it to someone else. And Vishen talks to me on WhatsApp, and he was like, hey, what are you doing in July? And for the first time ever, I literally had no plans.
How did you and Vision even get connected?
Oof. October 2021.
Wow, I like how you the exact dates.
Yeah, because I've went through that timeline again and
Yeah.
again in order for me to see what are some pivotal points in my life, to understand what shaped me and how did I take these forward. In October, I was burnt out from working out at the gym because I knew that something was off. Because every time you're not aligned with your truth, there's going to be an internal conflict. And my parents call me very randomly. Hey, we booked you a ticket to come to France because my father and my parents live in France. And I'm like, what? How can you do this? No, I'm overbooked. I can't find trainers anymore because the ones that I had at the gym left the country because at that time everybody was leaving because of what was happening.
Yeah.
So everybody was migrating away from the country. And if I leave, the gym has to close because I wouldn't have men on the floor. You can't do this. How did you do that? Why? But something in me told me, go. Regardless, go. And I had interviewed more than 17 trainers to see if that
They could fill
person's
in
values
slots, yeah.
would be able to go with the community that I had built, etc. So I go anyway. I had a distrust. And I go as soon as I land. I'm not joking. As soon as I land, I get a call from my partner at the time, and he was like, hey, we just got 2 trainers. And I knew that I was supposed to be there. A few days later, I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see Vishen puts a post that, hey, it's my daughter Eve's birthday. We're celebrating it in Paris. If any Mind Valley members are here, let's go for drinks or something. And, organizing events is my game. So I'm like, okay. I created a group on on Instagram, sorry. I created a group on Telegram, and I created a group on the Connections app for that Mind Valley's Connections app.
Yeah.
And I called on a restaurant. I booked the restaurant. I created a whole set menu, and I started to talk to people to get them together. I didn't even know there was a community of Mind Valley in Paris. That was my second time in Paris. I didn't know anything.
Totally?
Totally.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And so it was, 48 hours. Everything was booked. Vishen realized that I was the one, putting things in action. So he's
Wheeling
like, okay.
and dealing if you must.
Exactly. So he's like, okay, I'm going to talk to you. So you let me know where I need to go.
Okay.
So he arrives there, and to his surprise and to my surprise, there were around 45 people in that restaurant. And I didn't know any of them. I didn't even know the restaurant. It was just...
But you put the WhatsApp thread together, right? The threads together.
But it was a link, so we would talk to them on Instagram, go to that link. That's where the communication is happening, So once Vishen saw that, he's like, okay, there's something about you. So he kept me in his mind since then, because it was such a successful and beautiful meetup. And after that, we connected when I was becoming a coach in Mind Valley. And then from there, he's been following me on Instagram. He's seeing my work, so I'm on his radar if you want. And then at that time, after I left the gym, 2 weeks after I decided that I want to step into what I'm born to do, he texted me and he's like, what are you doing in July? And I said, nothing. I had just left everything. I said, nothing, I'm free. He's like, perfect. We're flying you into Mind Valley University. We're creating a documentary about you, and everything's covered.
Wow.
Go. 3 weeks after that, we were, there was the Chief Life Officer rooster happening, right? And I had applied because I'm like, this is the kind of people I want to work with. This is the kind of work that I want to be doing. I felt called to that because that's so true to who I am and how I work and how I think and where I want to be. So I applied to this. And as I was applying, there was this voice in my head telling me that, are you going to get accepted? I mean, you didn't even get the certification yet. I was doing that certification at the time.
Oh, you weren't even finished yet?
No. No.
I love it. I love this. The transition is
But it was
quite
at the
easy.
end. It was at the end. We were just finishing the modules.
Yeah.
And I remember Ajit at the time got on a call with us and he was like, okay, guys, 300 people applied to this and we only want 8. I don't know how many they took at the end, but he was saying in the call that we only want 8 coaches. And we want people with 2 to 3 years of experience in coaching. So at that moment, I'm like, okay, there's no way I'm getting in. I made peace with that. They want people with experience. I hadn't gotten the certification yet. So it's okay. I'll try next time. So 3 weeks after Vision had called me, I get an email from Sid saying that I got accepted in the Rooster. And when I met Sid at Mind Valley University, he was like, when I saw your video, you know, you had to send a 1 minute video.
The 1 minute video, yeah.
Introducing, you were with me in the Chief Life Officer program. So he said, when I saw your video and I felt that energy, I knew that this is the kind of energy that I wanted to have on the team. So what I want to say here is that when you start showing up as your true self, people will feel it. And it's not about, there are no rules. As Vision says, every rule is bendable. You know, you can bend a rule, you don't have to break them, but everything is bendable. The rule was for specific years and experience, but what bended it was the being, the truth.
Yep.
As long as you're showing up as who you are, whatever is yours is gonna find you. There are no rules in life. Go after that. Because once you step into your truth, that's the most powerful frequency you're gonna be resonating from, especially if you've done the inner work. Because then you're releasing and removing or elevating the lower frequencies that negative emotions hold. You're elevating that and you're really vibrating from a higher place.
I don't want to cut you off here, but
I'm done.
That inner work, as you continuously talk about, I feel that obviously that being able to get into that space, you needed someone to guide you, and you kept on referring to somebody obviously as, you know, you had a coach. Like, what made you even think of getting a coach at a period of time where you obviously had the business and the fitness industry and stuff? How was even having your own coach in your radar? Because clearly you credit this person to helping you through the journey of this pivot, this transition of the person that you are right now. So tell me a little bit more about that.
I love that question. It's funny, I came to her, the first thing that I said is, hey, listen, I know I'm meant for greatness.
Wow.
But I'm on that cliff, but I just can't jump. And I don't know why. And I want you to help me to figure out why, to remove that so that I can jump from there.
But you had the clarity to know what exactly you wanted help from, which is amazing.
Yeah, because I felt like there's something going on, because I'm really working hard. I'm a very hard worker. If you let me work hard, I'll work for days. So if I'm working that hard, and I'm seeing people working less hard, and they're getting there, there must be something different about the equation of how to reach success or how to reach what you want. What am I doing wrong? And if I'm going through burnouts, then that's not the right way. That's not the kind of life I want to live anyway. And why is that process of creating my dreams taking this much time? Every time I feel like I want to do this, there's something that stops me from the inside. What is this? I'm not able to figure that out on my own. And I tell people how mental health is so important, so I better practice what I preach. So yeah, I felt it was the right thing to do.
Was it easy to find the coach that matched with you? Was it just a serendipity? Was it like, how did that even occur?
My coach was actually one of my clients at the gym.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. Okay.
So I knew that she was a coach. I knew her personality. Shout out to her. I love her. And I could resonate with her truth because she was a pure person. She was an honest person. And I like people like that. And she's done the inner work. To me, if I want to select my coach, that person has to have done the inner work themselves, not just taking the books and applying them on clients. So, and I had a perfectionist mindset at the time, but I also knew that if this person didn't work out, I could always go to another. I didn't want to go through that hassle though, but it worked out and I'm grateful for this.
So who are you now?
At Mind Valley, the event, someone asked me that same question. And I couldn't think of anything other than a flame of fire and a beam of light. And in however way that is expressed, I am.
A flame of fire and a beam of light. Okay.
With a lot of love.
A flame of fire with a beam of light with a lot of love. Yeah. How does that even look like in a diagram and an art piece?
Fire represents my passion, so it's like all over, everywhere. And I'm a fire sign, so it makes sense. And light represents to me purity. I'm thinking as we go. It represents purity and authenticity and genuineness. And love is the essence and the core of what I'm made of and the reason behind everything that I do. So how does it look like? To me, it's the love is not, you can't see that, it's an energy that you feel from that light. And then that fire is that, one is the passion itself, that's the entrepreneur side of me, but it's also the 5-year-old that's always jumping from one place to the other. And the light is just, that stillness and this calm.
Who's your biggest inspiration? Don't say me, it's okay. You don't have to. It's my show, so, I'm just kidding.
I have different people in different aspects.
Okay.
In the world of business, Grace Beverly is definitely an inspiration.
Okay.
She's an entrepreneur in London. I look up to her a lot in how she gets things done successfully. In the world of spirituality, it's Jesus, honestly, because that's the optimum level of being, of love, and of service, and of creating a big impact in the world. Yeah, Jesus.
Your life has been a life of transformation and the resilience that's needed in order to go through these transformations. What would you say is the biggest message that you would have for everyone else going through a transformation in order for them to continue to have the resilience to go through it?
I need to look at the camera for this one.
Yeah, please.
Because I want to talk to you right away. If you want to reach places, remember that it's your power and it's your truth that's going to get you to that place. Because whatever you need to accomplish your dreams is who you are. It's not to become like someone, to act like someone, what's trendy right now, what's making the most money. Those dreams that you have and that you see, the reason why you see them is because they're possible and they're able to happen. And you can only make those happen if you first act from a place of truth, because you have everything it takes to make that happen. And I say this with so much confidence because the only thing, or the major thing that got me here and that's going to continue to take me further, and I can't wait, is that internal compass of who I am, what I'm made of, and that knowing and that belief and that trust that God has given me everything I need to be able to get to where I want to get. And if He has given me everything I need to get to where I want to get, and I decide to go where I'm meant to go, is He not going to open all the doors in front of me? Of course He is. And so, and as I said in my last talk, I'm an extension of God. I'm from Him. And I have His wisdom, His creativity, His abundance, His love, everything that I need. And once I recognize that, I realize how powerful I am as a person. And when I act from a place of love and combine that power with love, what can I create? So I have everything I need inside of me. If every person knew that who they are is completely enough to create and accomplish their dreams, they would be unstoppable. But unfortunately, society keeps on putting all of these different things where people compare themselves to others and they think that I'm not enough, I need to be like this person, I'm not enough, I need to do that thing. They're gonna act from a place of lack of authenticity and not from a place of truth, and they're gonna neglect their real power. And that's why we see people who are completely disconnected from themselves. And I believe that that's why we see a rise in depression, a rise in suicide rates, a rise in mental health problems, because they're not aligned with their truth. Because as long as there's an internal conflict in between who you truly are at the core and how your mind is wired on all of the beliefs that society has installed in you, there's always gonna be this clash. And that clash is gonna be expressed in different mental health problems or psychological disorders. But once you align, That's peace and that's power and that's love. And this is your greatest success.
Wow. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm getting chills. I'm getting and everything. I'm buying whatever she's selling, whatever it is. I'm buying it, and you better buy it too. But as we slowly wrap up here, there's a question I always ask everybody, and you probably know what this question is because you've known me for years. But I want you to think quite deep and hard about this question. And when you do answer the question, I'd like for you to say that to the camera. So I always ask the question, as you know, about the gratitude letter. And the gratitude letter is the single most profound technique or method that allows for people to increase their well-being tenfold, that lasts this feeling of goodness and joy through gratitude for about a month. So if you were to write a gratitude letter to somebody alive, preferably, so that you can actually write it, which will be your challenge today, who would that person be and why?
I know you said think hard, but I have the answer. Because I would definitely, should I?
Huh?
Okay.
Wow, rolling up the sleeves for this one, okay.
I would write that gratitude letter for my younger self. Because if it wasn't for her belief in myself, for her hard work, regardless of everything that was happening in her life and around her, she didn't stick with me, believe in me, and go above and beyond, I would not have been there. I'm so grateful for her. And I have so much love and care for her. And I hope that she remembers that she deserves to play her entire life. And I'm gonna make sure that she has the room for that.
Wow. Normally I try to have the guests cry, but now you're gonna make me teary-eyed for that. So I even prepared the tissues just in case that happens. But well, thank you very much, my darling, for being here and sharing your story, your journey, and where you are now. Tell us if you have do you have any projects that you're working on right now that you're excited about, that you'd like to share with the listeners?
One thing that's coming up that I'm so excited about is the biggest, deepest event that I've created yet, which is my upcoming retreat in Egypt.
Okay.
That is happening in May 2025. And it's gonna be a 5-day retreat where I'm gonna be walking. It's for entrepreneurs, high performers, executives, and professional athletes, people who know that they're meant for something bigger, but there's something holding them back. And it's a full deep dive for 5 days on the 4 quadrants of life that I mentioned. The mental, on one whole day, we're gonna go deep into that. The physical, also one whole day to go deep into every single aspect that affects your performance and well-being. The emotional and the mental. So in that retreat, there's gonna be a lot of healing on ground, and there's the right space for that as well in the Wellness Center. There's a lot of education on the body, on food, on the lifestyle that you wanna build for yourself. There's a lot of rewiring subconsciously and consciously, mentally, and there's a lot of reconnecting with your truth. And most of all, the 5th one, and that we will be doing every day, is to truly connect deeply with the community that's going to be present there, and creating room for deep connections, for networking as well, and potential projects, because these are incredible people that are joining, but also to realize that they're not alone. Because ambitious people, it's hard to find someone who really is so ambitious and feels that to the core. And often, and I see that with my clients, that often the feeling of loneliness is very common. I'm alone, or I don't feel like there are enough people who feel the same way, who are just as passionate around me. And so to get them together is such a big pleasure, so that they could connect and realize that they're not alone. They're just looking in the wrong places.
Where is this being held, and do you have the dates with you already?
Yes, it's on Egypt 18th to 22nd. It's going to be held in Ramal Wellness Center, and they could definitely reach out to me on Instagram or by email, and I would send them the brochure with all of the details. And my team is there to support them and make sure that everything's facilitated for their journey.
So you just kind of led to that. Where can people find you and your journey, and even obviously this thing that you're most excited about?
So I am on LinkedIn and so I am on LinkedIn and Instagram as Maria Saab, Saab. You could connect with me there. I try to answer all of my DMs. So please reach out if you have any question or if you want to know more about the retreat. And if you want to connect to go through this journey with me, it would be my absolute pleasure.
Any last messages for the listeners?
Do not just watch this episode if you're coming from my side, but subscribe to this channel or wherever you're going to be putting this podcast, because I know Erwin on a personal level and I've seen him on a professional level. And I'll tell you that this man is really a gift to the world, and he has a lot to give. He has so much wisdom and so much heart to give to this world. So he's going to be someone that is absolutely worth it that you join his journey and that you really see the kind of work that he does. And so stick around on this journey of Welcome to the Now. I know I will. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Wow, that was not a paid ad, just to let you know. I didn't expect for that. I was thinking about like, oh yeah, I just enjoy life, whatever, or whatever. You're just like, oh wow, that was an ad. I liked it. I like how you looked at the camera for that too. So, anyways, Maria, my darling, my angel, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for spending the time and space and joining me in the now.
It is always a pleasure. I can't wait for our next adventures together.
All right, everybody. See you later.